And we are live. Woo, 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 woo.
We
All
need
right. Welcome, everybody, to episode 79 of Whiskey, Wine, and Moonshine. I'm one of your co-hosts, Lady Buddha, and I'm joined today with the inflappable Sojourner Verdad.
What the heck?
That's all I could do on the top of my head. How you doing today, Sojo? What's up?
I'm good. I'm cold, but I'm good. And I've
Okay.
been exercising, so the top of my head is wet. So I'm like trying to have this little hat on till it gets dry.
Is that a skull cap? That doesn't dry your
It's
hair.
not a scully. See, I have a wrap thing underneath it to soak up the moisture. Yeah.
Oh, well.
I did have a cuter hat that looked like this, but it wasn't pressing the roots down, and we got to press. That's the goal, is to press the roots down.
Oh, I get it now. So, cold. Yeah, I'm cold. I have beef right now with Mother Nature because I'm kind of really upset about the fact that she's acting like it's winter and it's not.
Okay, but let's talk about how somebody on Twitter said everywhere in the country is below freezing. Hawaii.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yes. Florida is freezing. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not, I mean, I'm like, come on now. Like, I saw somebody tweet or Facebook or something talking about winter, wait your turn. And I'm like, yeah.
Yes, Mother Nature has shown her behind. But I'm hoping that she doesn't turn right back around and get super hot. Because, see, that's catch cold weather, and I can't deal with that. So.
See, and I was going to be rebellious tonight. I planned on wearing one of my sundresses just to be like, I got the heat on in my house, and I'm going to wear a dress. But it's not warm enough in the house.
Let's talk about sundress. You mean the ones where you look like you naked? Like,
well, that's a wrap.
All this, I'm just saying.
But I do mean, like, my shoulders are all out, and it's, low cut, and, it's appropriate for warm weather, which we're not having. But I wanted to wear one just to be like, listen up, Mother Nature. I'm going to still be rebellious. But it's too cold in the house right now. I got my heater on my feet, like a space heater. It's too cold. I tried it. I couldn't play the game. I had to give up. So
I do that space heater on the feet thing in my office because that warms your body up.
Mm-hmm.
Like immediately. Like I don't have to have heat blasting on me, but if my feet are warm, I'm good.
Well, I'm trying it, so maybe at some point, it's not three of us today, because what is Miss Smart doing? She playing hooky.
Right. So we had originally titled the episode, because when you were gone, we said when the good one's away. When the good one's away, the ratchet will play. And then we were going to flip it and say when the ratchet one's away, the good ones, because I still feel like I'm goodness and light. I even have my positive affirmations in a cup because I bless you all with scripture every morning. Stop playing. But
in 2012.
But then look.
I'm just saying. Okay, let's be real. Okay.
But then I said, okay, well, good girl gone bad because you're the good girl, and I feel like you can be corrupted.
Well, that's true.
Hey, Hustle Crow said, does Miss Smart know y'all calling her ratchet? Yes, she does, and she is actually trying to call in by the middle of the show because I think she's going to try to start some mess. Wait a minute. You saw the message she sent, where's my invite? We didn't even invite her to this. You realize?
Yeah, because she said she was busy.
She's like, where's my invite?
And I'm in charge, so I might not invite her. Let me see.
You know what we should do? Invite her and mute her.
No, we should. She said, where's my invite? Oh, bitches, I might make it midway. Anyway, before I address that, what are you drinking on? What you sipping on tonight, Sojo?
I actually just have some tea because it's so cold outside. I went ahead and made some what is this? I can't even remember. It's some kind of natural tea, I get from the farmer's market or whatever. Not the unicorn tea, not the unicorn ball.
Okay.
I'll be staying up all night if I drank that. But it is some type of bedtime tea with some lemons in it. So that's all I have.
I missed that tea. I was going to ask you the other day if you remember what it was called because I have to get off coffee for a little while. I don't have to get off caffeine, but something about what coffee is doing in my body right now, I get to the point where when I can tell I'm in coffee overload because I start to get sleepy whenever I drink it.
It's I don't know how to pronounce it because I don't speak Mandarin or whatever, but it's Xiang. What's that?
I think it is. Yeah, something like that.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
type of tea it is, but it comes in those little balls. But they have different ones. So I think there's another one. Remember the one that I was using that was very potent?
Yeah,
That
that's
one,
what I want.
yeah, that's like the dark brown kind of color. But then there's another one that has like a lavender bud to it. That one's okay, but it doesn't have that kick that the
Okay.
other one did. That's the pure unicorn juice right there.
Okay. And so I'll get it. Because I really do, I need to, like that tea was magical.
I'll get you some. Did you know I got Miss Smart some?
No.
Yes,
You
I had
drinking
it for. Okay, so let me tell you a story since she's gone and she can't like cuss me out. Um,
it?
so I originally got her that tea like maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago, maybe closer to three. And I had like that. I had a unicorn journal. I had a whole bunch of stuff. It was like a little gift bag for her. But I kept forgetting to put it in the mail. So
Oh,
it sat in my truck for a good year and a half until I went to the
I remember you talking
inauguration.
about that. Yeah.
Yes. Until I went to the inauguration and I actually gave it to her then. But it had been in my truck for almost 2 years. I got her some new tea or whatever, but I did give her the journal with the unicorn and stuff on it because that was when we were in our unicorn phase.
Shady though.
Okay, but I could never get to the post
I
office.
mean, but you also don't even get to your post box.
Oh, we gonna bring my personal business up on
I
the
mean,
podcast? Is that what we're doing?
because I'm turning ratchet.
Mailman stop
Woo,
coming to my house. Okay, so in my defense, for those of you who have garages, you know that especially when it's cold, you will drive straight into the garage and you will not stop. Well, I did not stop at my mailbox, so I did not check my mail for a good 3 months, maybe 4 months. And
Heifer,
so
don't blame it on winter because you did that shit in the summer too. I mean, stop. Just stop. Just stop. Just
I'm
lies.
telling this,
Lies,
I'm telling
everybody.
the podcast version. Can I tell the podcast
Okay,
version? So
okay,
anyway,
I'm
it
gonna
got
be
to the
quiet.
point.
Let you just tell yours. Let me just make sure I'm out of the way of lightning strikes. Let me look around, make sure I'm okay.
It got to the point where I finally went to go check the mailbox and there was nothing there. So I was like, well, what happened to my mail? So I had to go to the post office and like basically tell them that, that I just neglected to check my mail. So they were like, oh, so you didn't abandon your home? I was like, oh my God, no. So
Wow.
I had to fill out paperwork and everything for them to start redelivering my mail. So anyway, I am getting
Wow.
my mail again, and I do check it at least every 2 weeks.
That's crazy. I'm sending
But
Mr. Mark this
the invite, she might get it. I'll send it to her as a link.
okay, and I try to G plus it to her real quick.
Okay.
Well, I'm drinking so you're drinking tea. I'm drinking
I,
wine. I had we tried a new cab yesterday or this weekend called Freak Show. It was really good. And that's one of the few cabs that I can really just like say by name that was really good. And it's not good if you're not used to drinking cabs, but now that I'm starting to get used to them, it's like a really it has a lot of different flavors in it. And it's kind of peppery, which I thought I wouldn't like because I told you I have an aversion against pepper, but something about the way they I don't know, it just tastes good. I like it. But we smashed that. It's over. And so I just
can we
opened
talk
a new.
about those since you were telling my business on a podcast? Can we talk about your tolerance level
Ooh,
and
no,
how it's
wait.
changed over the years and how now I feel like you need an alcohol intervention because this is not the Lady Buddha that I grew up with. This whole sitting when you are at the restaurant posting pictures of wine on your Instagram twice and you only have a total of 8 photos and 2 of them are glasses of wine. Can we talk about
I
that?
don't like you doing qualitative analysis on my
Can we talk about
Instagram.
that though? Since you want to talk about me, can we talk about that?
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I started drinking a little bit more. It's y'all's fault,
a
though.
little bit more.
Some
Uh-huh.
kind of way it's connected to this podcast and the fact that we named it Whiskey, Wine, and Moonshine, and I try to
Please.
bring something to drink in the podcast. But anyway, back to the wine. I'm just drinking a cab again tonight, and this one is one of my other favorites, but not as good as Freak Show, and it's called, I think we got Educated Guess this time. Yeah,
Oh, I
Educated.
like that educated guess.
It's a good one. So, Educated Guess, Dreaming Tree, which is by a musician. I can't think of his name right now. Cabs right now. So, y'all go check one of those out. If you like cabs, check one of those out.
And also send words of encouragement to Lady Buddha about sobriety and
Whatever. I'm totally sober. Wow.
you know I'm gonna troll you back. You try to troll me, I'm gonna troll you back.
This is a no. This is a troll-free zone.
Oh, because we're gonna be good today?
Yeah. Well, for a little while.
Oh Lord.
Haha. Yeah. All right.
So
Oh. Hmm?
no, go ahead.
I was just about to say, I have to tell y'all, because I Facebooked it several times, I tweeted it a few times, but I read Misty Copeland's autobiography, A Life in Motion, an Unlikely Ballerina, and it was really good.
You
I
were
don't know.
telling us about this, but you didn't really give us any background. You were just like, you started off as if you knew Misty, and we did too. Like you were like, so Misty says, so Misty says. I'm like, who the hell is Misty, and why do I
I
care?
did do that. I did do that. So it's Misty Copeland, and she is the first African American soloist for American Ballet Theater in the last 20 years. And actually, she is about to open Swan Lake, which is going to be a historical opening, and that's going to be for the Washington Ballet, which is going to be at I think that's the name of the troupe, but it's at Kennedy Center this spring. At any rate, I have been long fascinated with Misty for the past couple of years. Just when we talked about the board of directors, she was the person who was unnamed on the board of directors.
Oh, when
Who
you
I
were talking about how she moved, that was the
Yeah,
one.
that she's in her body, and it's like this goddess power just radiates from her body, the way she moves. And even when you see the behind the scenes pictures of her dancing and practicing, when you think about ballerinas, it's always the bun and the
Yeah.
black tights and the
Mhm.
pink tights and the black leotard. She always has her hair completely free and
Mm.
shorts on and like a dance top, and she's just getting it.
Okay.
So if you think of like modern dancers, like Alvin Ailey type style, but
Hmm.
she's doing these beautiful moves, but she's dancing with her whole life, and you can see it, and it moves you, it moves me. So I've been kind of fascinated with her because of that. And then I started to hear over time a little bit about her background, which was that number one, she was late to ballet. She didn't start dancing until she was 13, and then she was a reluctant ballerina because she was kind of like, these people have been dancing, and I'm at the Boys and Girls Club, and
Yeah.
I don't even have tights. All I got is my sweats, and you want me to do what? And kind of, so she wasn't sure that she was in the right place. Like so many her, and would like encouraged her and mentored her and paid for all of the things she needed to do to be a dancer. And one day she looked in the mirror and was like, "Wow,
I
that."
am.
I'm a dancer, and this is what I
Hmm.
was born to do. And her life took off from there. So the biography kind of details the fact that, her mom got married 4 times. She has 5 siblings. And it was always kind of the middle of the night. They would just up and leave the husband and then go in with the next one. And that she didn't even meet her father until late in life. And she kind of just talks about this rocky life, and that's the life in motion part, kind of a play on the fact that she's also a dancer. There was a custody battle between her and one of her mentors when she was going to be emancipated so she could go dance.
Wait, what do you mean custody battle between one of her and her mentors?
Between her mom and her mentor, because at
Oh.
one point, one of the ladies who was teaching her how to dance was basically like, "Come live with me," because she
Mm.
was not living in a good situation, and it was kind of, her mom was getting to the point where her mother felt like it was a competition for mothering her, when the other lady was really interested in promoting the dance for Misty. And it was kind of like this tug of war. Do I go to dance class or do I stay here with my mom when it's not going to be likely that I can really go to dance class because I need to tend to my brothers and sisters, and my mom needs to see me and that kind of thing. At any rate, so at one point it was a custody battle because they said basically, Misty, do you want to make your own decisions? Do you want to become emancipated from your family? And at one point Misty said yes. And then eventually, after time, it got really messy and it was in the public eye. She decided that no, that wasn't the right way for her to go, and everybody dropped everything. But I mean, that just kind of just talks about the turmoil that she had to go through in order to become a dancer. And I thought it was well written and very interesting. I'm not normally someone who is into autobiographies or nonfiction text in general. And I read this book. I started it one day that night that I tweeted the wine or Instagram the wine and finished it the next day.
Which glass of...
Okay, listen.
Okay, you thought you were going to get away with...
Listen. So at any rate...
no, I know the one you're talking about. You also put a picture of her on your Instagram, too.
Yeah, I mean, Missy is awesome. So... I was looking for some of the quotes.
Is that the one with the street harassment?
Yeah.
Where she had I actually liked that. I wanted to talk about that.
Okay, go ahead.
No, you had it. Because I don't think I still have the screenshot. Huh?
Let me see if I still have it saved, that screenshot. Hold on. So while I'm looking for it, it was a quote where Misty was talking about, so Misty is from California, San Pedro, California, and she moved to New York as a teenager, and she had to get used to walking around New York, I know.
I got it. If you don't have it,
okay, good. No, go ahead, because I'm still looking for it. You go.
Okay, so I'm not sure which one of these you sent first. Let's see. Okay, she's saying that she walked probably more than she ever had in her life, and being outside at all times of day and night, she will often have to make her way through a blast of catcalls. How you doing, sis? Hey, can I get those digits? At first, they were unnerving. I was living alone in the city, and it made me feel vulnerable, having strange men leering at me. But after a while, I began to realize they were mostly harmless and good-natured. You might draw some attitude if you acted snooty, but if you smiled or said hello, the calls would usually go no further than flirting, ending with have a good day. Some of the attention actually made me feel good after a while. I wasn't fat on the streets of New York. I was desirable and attractive. In fact, my look, dark hair, brown skin, curvy physique, melded seamlessly into the urban rainbow.
Just for a little context, okay. Just for a little context, Misty was very small, and she did not go through puberty until she hit 19. And it was kind of a forced puberty because the doctor was like, you haven't started your cycle, and that's abnormal, and I'm going to make you start.
Was it the dance? Because I know a lot of times...
Well, elite dancers do go through that, except that she didn't start until she was 13 dancing, and she wasn't dancing that seriously like that at that time. So I was kind of intrigued by that, but she didn't follow that up. So I don't know whether she would have been late anyway and it was pushed back further, or whether there was some other thing going on with her. But so at any rate, he gave her basically hormones so that she would start her cycle, and so she went through puberty, and so that completely changed her body. And if you've ever seen a picture of Misty, she doesn't look like the flat, frail wisp of a woman. This is a curvaceous, fine-ass woman. Let me just be real clear. So you're going to look at her, and you're going to be like, whoa, go Misty. And so there she is at 19, starting to blossom like that, and she's brown and the only one like that. And so she's having to kind of say that she belongs there. At the same time, she ended up getting injured. So, and she fractured her back. So it was kind of like all these things happened at the same time, and she started to feel overweight when she came back to try to dance after recovering.
Yeah, when she said the part about fat, and I'm looking at her picture, I'm like,
It
girl.
was never fat. Yeah, but you know, in ballet, it's kind of like
Yeah,
you're supposed to be
you
like
have to
this,
be.
pencil thin. And so anyway, so she just felt self-conscious about her weight, and they kind of hinted to her that she needed to do, the code word is lengthen. She needed to lengthen, because they can't say lose weight.
Right.
And at any rate, so that's what she was going through. So she was feeling down on herself for a while and was starting to do a little bit of unhealthy eating. And so that's when she started talking about the cat calls in New York. But anyway, what do you think about that quote? Because you guys had reactions to that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it because, like what I was telling you guys about my experience in New York this summer was there are a lot, like men were having conversation. I personally didn't feel harassed, but I could understand how women would feel harassed. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm used to talking to people. I'm used to engaging in conversation. So you saying, "Hey sis, how you doing? Looking good," blah 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 blah, is not going to be a problem for me. Even, you and I've had a conversation about the smile, thing, like a guy saying, smile or whatever. I don't take offense to that. Like, I'll say if I'm not smiling, I'm not having a good day. And like I told you the story about the guy who was like, "Well, what happened?" And I told him, and he paid for my gas to, make my day, because he was like, "Dang, I'm sorry." Here, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but just because that doesn't bother me doesn't mean that it shouldn't bother somebody else, if that makes sense. So
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, everybody has their own experience of life, and so they're entitled to react however they want to react. But I just thought it was interesting that, especially given our recent conversations, the fact that she explicitly called that out as she felt vulnerable at first, because
and
it
then
wasn't something she was
realize,
used to, and then realized that, most of the guys meant no harm at all. And, I can't speak for some of the people on Twitter who are really, anti, and I won't name names at any rate, some of those people, but that she kind of came to a different understanding and appreciation of it, and she kind of engaged them, and it was
well,
something that fed her spirit at the
I
time.
think that when it becomes dangerous is when you prevent people from, when, okay, for example, if you
Hmm.
discredit a woman for saying that she feels threatened, then
Right.
you're blocking that woman from having her feelings, and vice versa. If somebody tells her, "Okay, well, you should have felt harassed when, they said X, Y, and Z to you. You're not helping the sisterhood, or you're not whatever, because you're not standing in lockstep with this, thing." Everybody's entitled to feel the way that they. That's all. That's what harassment is how you perceive
Amen.
whatever action is happening to you at that time.
Yeah.
That's the difference between engaging in conversation and being harassed. So, but sometimes I feel like people don't know the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Um, but she had a lot of really powerful quotes, and I'm not gonna like go through all of them, but I will encourage you all to go read it. I'm gonna see if I can find one of them that stood out. Hold on, cause aw, my Kindle app is trying to act up. Oh, here we
Oh
go.
no.
Hold on, cause I have several, and they're all highlighted. Here we go. Okay, here's one. So there was a time that she's talking about the fact that actually there's so many, so much good stuff. Um, 'Cause she talks about her. So I do want to say that she talks about the fact, like there's a refrain that she uses at the beginning of the book. This is for the little brown girls, and at the beginning she doesn't make it as clear, but she comes to weave in the story of the fact that even though she is multiracial or biracial, that I mean she still identifies as black or African American, and very strongly so, and that in elite ballet she's definitely a singular, like it's her,
Hmm.
in terms of around her, and growing up it was her. And so she starts to talk about how that experience over time starts to weigh on her, as being the only around. And like I said, she's been the only soloist in the past 20 years for American ballet. At any rate, she talks about, so one of the quotes that from early in the book, she says, "They may be poor like I have been, insecure like I have been, misunderstood like I have been. I will be dancing for them too, especially for them." And it's like she takes it on herself to tell her story, to be an inspiration to other people. And what's interesting is I saw some of the comments that people wrote, or some of the comments like on Goodreads, and someone basically implied that they didn't like her writing style because she was unapologetic. And I was like, fuck
What
you.
was she supposed to be apologetic about?
That's what Blue said. And I said, I don't know. And it's like, while I can see why somebody would think that she was unapologetic, she was, but it's her story. She's talking about the fact that she came through the fire. She's still going through it. She just had an injury.
How are
she
you
fractured her leg in 6 places, and is now about to go open Swan Lake. This just happened in 2012. And it's like she had this injury, and yet she's still going through the fire, and she's still the only one from the last 20 years. That's her story to tell.
It's her autobiography, but she's supposed to tell it apologetically.
Yeah, it's so strange. And then she said that she gets a lot of critique from people who feel like, so Misty is also known for dancing with Prince. And so she talks about a story a few times when she talks about how she started dancing with him on tour, and how some people were disparaging her for that because basically she was making ballet too common, and that she was letting the common people in and letting everybody in on the secret of ballet. So she kind of talked about that as well, and that the fact that she had 2 goals. Number one, to basically recruit more brown girls in ballet, but number 2, to recruit more viewers to ballet, because a lot of people haven't watched it. Like when she was 13, she had never seen anybody perform a ballet before herself. So she wants to try to open up the world of ballet to other people, and so she gets critiqued for that as well. Anyway, there's just a lot here, and I'll just find one more to close with because I see Miss Smart is coming on.
Is she here? Can you hear us, Smart? I think
she looks like she's still coming up.
Okay.
And I'll just say that actually the very last quote.
Hey.
Okay,
I can hear you guys.
1, 2, 1,
2. That's my beatbox. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. You're talking about Misty.
I am talking about her, but I can't find the very last quote. So hold on. I have like all these quotes in different places. Here it is. Go ahead.
While you're looking, so, and I came in sort of on the tail end. Okay. So I feel like Misty, like in many areas where you've gone outside of having a predominantly black audience, people expect you to perform for the gaze of whites so that they can see your humanity. But if you don't do that, if you do it just for the art of it and just for the quote-unquote common people to see it, people, not just whites or whatever, but people get upset because they have commandeered this art as some type of special high-end thing that makes them special because they appreciate it. And when you make it for everybody, well, my God.
When things start happening, are they going to start like wearing chains and hoodies to the performances? Like what? Like what are they?
Tiger didn't start wearing Timberlands to play golf, so I don't know. Maybe they'll start letting their big booty show, and then that'll be a problem for the Taylor Swift asses of the world.
That she moves like not in a sexual way, but in a way that she's aware of her body, which is
so sensual. Different. It's beautiful.
Yeah, which is also different.
She moves like she has a womb.
She does.
Yeah.
Y'all, if you've not seen, and this is for everyone, if you've never seen video of Misty dancing, especially when she's like just like there's a picture of her doing like a video of her doing it on Arsenio Hall, kind of freestyling. Like you will be like, wow.
Yeah, when you started talking about Misty as if y'all had brunch the other day, that's what I looked.
Okay,
so Misty said blah 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 blah.
Shut up. I'm gonna meet Misty. At any rate, so she was like, this wasn't the one I was looking for, but I wanted to say this last thing too. They were talking about Swan Lake because we were talking about the color issue, and she says she thought she was going to get cast in Swan Lake, and she said, "What do you say? What what do you mean? What did they say? My friend said that someone commented that I didn't fit in with my brown skin, especially in a ballet like Swan Lake. And she's talking about the part where they're like 4 dancers walking side by side doing the little dances all together. And she says, my heart dropped. I didn't understand. I grew worried, especially with the filming of Swan Lake fast approaching. When casting was finally announced, I was not picked to dance in the second act, the white act, quote unquote. In the world of dance, there's a genre called white ballets. Swan Lake is one, as is La Bayadere, which I can't pronounce, and Giselle. Their second acts are populated by otherworldly characters, animals, or perhaps spirits of the dead, who usually wear white, and it's considered imperative that the core and often even the principals look the same. It was strange to me to be judged by my skin color rather than by my talent or effort. I had seen bigotry in its most vile form living with Robert, that's one of her stepfathers, hearing the slurs he hurled at my little sister, Lindsay, knowing the ugly things his family said about mine, but that had felt like a surreal, terrible aberration. So, I mean, so it was just kind of interesting, especially given the fact that she is going to get the chance to lead Swan Lake, that this idea of the white ballets. And she talked later on about the fact that one of the ballets she was in, they were about to make her put white powder on her so she could be one of those white animals in the second act. And she's like, why do the cats have to be all white anyway? I want to be a brown cat today. And so the makeup artist didn't put the white powder on her face.
But the default everything, as I said maybe a couple of weeks ago, is white.
Yep.
Whether it's a cat, a sheep, a freaking eraser head, it's white.
Yep.
So they were going white. So they were basically gonna white face her.
Yeah, and they had. I mean, that's what they usually do for those all white acts. You know, everyone's looking alike. They just white you out. All right. So this is the very last quote.
Wait. Does everybody look alike, or do they just bank on the whiteness similarity? Because I don't think all those girls look alike.
And here's the thing.
You mean like the Rockettes don't all look alike to you?
Here's the thing.
No, they don't look. They don't.
And even when you look at Misty, she looks biracial. Like, she's fair skinned. I mean, she's not fair skin, but she's.
Yeah, she's brown. I mean, she's light brown. Yeah.
Right. So, okay. So they did, in my opinion, they didn't have to necessarily whiten her up. Anyway.
If you still the only brown thing walking around,
you still brown.
You brown and you're the curviest thing out there. I mean, especially compared to the rest of them, you know. All right, so the quote that she ends the book with is, I know that by being here for 17 years in this rarefied, difficult, elitist, beautiful world, I have made my mark in history and ballet. I will forever fight, performing as if it's my last show.
Okay, so I'm going to read it. You've convinced me.
She gets down.
I'm gonna use our Audible thing to listen to.
Use it because it's on Audible.
How about somebody do an Audible plug right now? This podcast is brought to you by www.audibletrial.com/whiskeywinemoon. I forgot the rest of
That's awesome.
I forgot the rest of the plug. But get your free 30-day trial today. How about that?
Awesome.
Get your free boo-boo for free.
Get for free. And seriously, it went by very quickly because I don't really read books like that, and I read it like it.
You did. Oh, you haven't added it yet, but it will be on our WWM.
I did. I was able to figure it out. I added it.
Okay. Because we haven't talked about our book stuff in a while. So if you guys go on our website, there's a tab called WWM Pod Reads, and it has just a lot of books that we've read, but also listeners have also suggested. So that one, along with many others, are there for you guys to check out.
Amen.
And can I just say that Hustle Crow ain't it?
Yeah, I was about to say I didn't do any of the comments over there because I couldn't.
I see one that he put, and I'm like, Hustle really ain't worth a quarter.
But to be fair, has he ever been? So I don't feel like we should have that high expectation of him. If
Whoa. Smart, do you have like something covering your camera? Is that what's going on?
Yes, I do.
Well, I think Jeffrey said you look nice today.
Turn your camera off.
Oh, I can do that. Okay, wait, let me just.
Yeah, because it keeps flashing to you, and there's this gray screen.
And that may be why he thinks you look nice.
Where I look nice?
Ooh, the shade. Anyway,
that's on Hustle.
what did he say? Because I'm trying to see where the beginning was.
Well, I can't see both sides of the comment, so.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay, hold on. I wasn't ready. Oh, goodness.
Okay,
all right. Well, Jeffrey said, hey, ladies, looking pretty as always. And he says that he likes the hat that Sojo is wearing and the earrings that Lady Buddha is wearing. Thank you. I guess Hustle is drinking vodka.
Shout out, Sipper.
Yeah. And there's too much going on, and I'm not going to filter through.
Lady Buddha, for real, have you been drinking?
I mean, I haven't actually. I haven't even had a chance to drink this because I'm just, I can't. So I'm not doing that.
Okay, well, let's say
they're talking to each other, so we're going to go with that.
Because Jake, clear all that out, because Jake said what's up, and I don't think we've ever had Jake on. So what's up, Jake?
I'm going to clear these. All right.
But let's just say, just for record, as usual, Hustle Crow ain't worth a quarter.
Okay, yeah. It's just telling me to delete it. Should I just delete it? It won't let me pull it up to the top.
Click on, click the comment, and you should be able to put done.
Oh, here we go. Okay, got it.
That's right, people. A1 production over here.
What are you eating?
I'm about to say, you coming in talking smack and eating
late and unprofessional, chomping on.
Girl, let me tell you something. I went into my kitchen to put up my food from earlier tonight, and I saw some bacon left over from this morning. I was like, oh, I'm not going to leave that on the counter.
You sound like you are eating bacon. And you just smacked. You were like,
Hustle did say that, let Miss Smart know that he was in your neck of the woods on Sunday. He was at church. He's not ratchet no more.
First of all, he's a fucking liar. He was not at church. Let's say that. He probably was at the racetrack or the casino.
He was probably trying to snatch the collection plate.
Exactly. We're going to be about it. Speak about the truth. Don't be speaking about these lies. I'm not here for that.
Well, since all three of us are here, let's talk about the great time we had on Insanity Check on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. We did have a good time.
That was a whole lot of fun. If you guys missed us on his show, it's called I know it's got sodomite in it. What is it?
That's really all that matters.
Is it Starbucks sodomites or something like that?
Starbucks sodomites. Yes, that is the title. I think it's episode 458, and that was this past Sunday. We talked about a whole lot. Like we went from Girl Scout cookies to
Which wait a minute. You know that Samoas are now called like caramel chews. They're not Samoas anymore. And so I only found it out today. And because I was like, they're purple, and I looked at the writing, and I was like, no, this can't be right. And then I Googled it, because I was like, did I get some counterfeit cookies? Because I might be eating poison.
You were about to write a strongly worded letter.
Girl, you know I was. A sternly worded letter with
We didn't even say it was time to call in. Y'all want to take Hustle's call?
I guess. I'm not going to be in charge of this.
Yeah, I'm not in charge of that either.
Hustle.
We still got a topic we can get to yet.
Jeff. Wait, I don't.
Jeffrey, how are you doing, ladies? Y'all was wonderful tonight.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Exactly.
I would like to hear y'all talking about this Hustle Crow guy. He's a good guy.
Yes, he is, but we hadn't got to the part where we were going to tell people to call in yet, though.
Oh, my bad. I'm just saying, y'all was talking about me. I figured I'd call in, clear my name.
Oh, this Hustle for real. Okay.
It's Hustle for real.
This is, you know what? This is why we can't have nice things right here. This is exactly
That's why we can't have call-ins. Because we can't vet people.
I hate Hustle, cuz.
So go drive.
I just go breezy on you.
I can't hear him, though.
We were.
It's muffled.
You
I
are
can't
muffled.
hear him, Sojo.
You're muffled, Hustle.
Yeah, it's windy out here. I'm going to have to get back at y'all. I don't want to mess with the quality, but I was really at church, It was a baby dedication. And,
baby dedication, not for Jesus, but okay.
$20 in the collection joint. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
All right.
So my story is, I'm gonna hang up on Hustle because my story is, instead of putting $20 in the collection plate, he stole $20 from the collection plate. We know how Hustle did. He was there for Christian. He left with $20. How about that?
But his name, Hustle, is in his name, so it kind of makes sense.
Right. Well, one of the things we talked about on the Insanity Check was about the Bill Cosby thing, because I don't think any of us at that point had heard the interview where he was pretty much mute when asked questions.
I had read the script, but I hadn't listened to it. I had seen it.
So then what happened on Monday was a woman came out yesterday talking about, telling her story of him drugging and raping her back in 1969. And then, like, right before the show aired, maybe an hour ago, Janice Dickinson also was on Entertainment Tonight saying that he also drugged and raped her. So this is two more women that have come out. And, yeah, one of the things was Chris didn't realize when he was doing the podcast, he didn't realize until I think yesterday that there was a comedy bit that Cosby did called Spanish Fly.
Yep. But wait a minute. Let me just say this. If anybody heard the NPR piece and you've ever gone to the doctor for a physical and they ask you how many drinks you have a week, it was the same exact shit. Like when my doctor's like, how many drinks you have a week? It's silence and like, doing the math, like, well, how many is acceptable? I don't know.
Right.
That's what Bill did. Like, did I rape her? My wife is sitting here. I don't know. Okay.
How many women can I say before?
Right. Like, it's like, how many people you had sex with? Is 10 too many? Because if I go with 7, that's acceptable. I mean, he was just like silence. Like, and I was thinking, like, is he gonna say like, 2 women accuse me when we all know it's just on the cusp of 20? Like, okay, 2 is acceptable. Like, it was such bullshit.
Yeah, we're up to 15 women now.
Yeah, well, Janet Dixon.
Yeah, about to say, getting up to 20. We're getting there. We're gonna hit 20 soon.
Yeah.
So I did want to play Spanish Fly because I don't think a lot of people have heard Spanish Fly.
I hadn't heard it.
So I'm gonna go ahead and play it. And I'm gonna put the mic up too so it can have some volume to it. So here we go. We're gonna hear Bill Cosby. And we're gonna talk about the Facebook thread that I read earlier today. But one of the comments was about it being 1969 that this lady came out. And I just want you guys to know that this comedy bit is from 1969. So here we go.
Amen.
When I was 13, man, start talking about weird things. No, really. Standing on the corner. You know anything about Spanish Fly? What? Spanish Fly? It always happens when you're 13. Only when you're 13 on up to like when you get married. Guys stand around and talk about Spanish Fly, and it never starts with one of the guys on the corner. It's always some strange 13-year-old who says, you know what? You know anything about Spanish Fly? No, tell me about it. Well, there's this girl, Crazy Mary. You put some in her drink, man. She... Yeah, Spanish, oh yeah, that's really groovy, man. Spanish Fly is groovy, yeah. Boy. From then on, man, anytime you see a girl, what's your eyes on Spanish Fly? Go to a party, see 5 girls standing alone. Boy, if I had a whole jug of Spanish Fly, I'd like that corner. So I thought it only existed in Philadelphia, you know, and I'm working on I Spy, and Bob and I are working together. Sheldon Leonard comes up, says, boys, I Spy is going to Spain. A childhood dream come true. I said to Bob, you know, because he don't know nothing about it. I said, hey, Bob, you know what I'm going to pick up when I'm in Spain? He said, Spanish Fly. I said, wait a minute, man. How'd you know about it? He said, are you kidding? There's a girl in my neighborhood in Berkeley named Crazy Mary. We gave her some stuff. And every time he told me a story, I had heard it. Every time I told him a story, he had heard it. We all knew the same story. So I figured there's got to be a guy about 2,000 years old that looks 13 going around the world. You guys know anything about Spanish Fly? So, Bobby, man, we're just sing. Oh, you some Spanish fly, love it. And we're riding on the plane, Spanish fly, and we're getting to go through customs. This is the land of Spanish fly, Spanish fly. We get in the cab, Ryan, the driver. I said, ask this guy if he knows where we can get some Spanish fly. I said, well, you don't ask the cab driver. No, it's the cab driver. He may know, man. Driver, say, senor. Listen, you Spanish? Si, senor, you American? Yes. You come from America? Yes. You could tell me maybe you brought with you some American fly?
So he did an entire 3-minute bit on a date rape drug in 1969. Right around the time that that lady said that happened to her. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just silent.
I don't even know where to go.
But share your.
Well, to be fair, wait. To be fair, there are no accusations against Mr. Funky Cole Medina Tone Loc yet.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I was just about to say yeah.
You're right.
But you know what I also thought about too was the amount of people laughing and cheering at the joke. It reminded me of when we were doing the Michael Jackson podcast about how you don't even realize, like back then, you don't even realize that things are wrong until years later.
Yeah.
When
Well,
you go,
because no harm, no foul, right? If nobody was complaining at the time, and that wasn't a big issue of, that wasn't polite conversation at that time, like everything is all funny. I think that it's probably true that our collective sense of humor changes over time. You know.
But you bring up a very good point, Lady Buddha, about polite conversation, because I think one of the things that keeps one sex in the dark about the struggles of another is polite conversation. You know, you don't talk about fibroids in polite conversation. You don't talk about erectile dysfunction. You don't talk about rape in polite conversation. Yeah, I know. I did a huge jump. That was a far bridge across from. Yeah, but I mean, like these things, things were, you know, prior to maybe our generation and a little bit before us. If you have young parents, things were really kept very separate and very much in the closet. You know, it was okay to laugh at them, but it wasn't okay to acknowledge the real experience of these traumas.
And that's where social media has really like blown the door wide open, because social media, especially Twitter, is that one big party where everybody can hear everybody's conversation. So men now are starting to get the women's point of view of a lot of things that they hadn't never heard before, and same thing with women and men. And so we are starting to have those conversations, and things that they didn't realize were problems at the time, now they are aware. Like, even when you listen to the content of that joke, he was talking about the girl who everybody slept with, so you might as well go ahead and give her Spanish fly. Then he talked about the guy saying, those 5 girls over there in the corner, you want to knock them down, go ahead and, you know.
Fast tail girls. I think that's a technical term for them. Fast tail girls.
Yeah, you know, go ahead and give them that too. And then if you go to Twitter, you'll hear stories about women who have had things happen to them in similar situations. So now it's no longer a joke, it's no longer a game. Because now you're having conversations.
It still is a game until the woman actually starts to speak out on her. Well, I won't say until she does, but let's not forget that whole. I think it was a homecoming around Black homecoming last year, where there was the one girl who was naked in several pictures. People didn't seem to have too much sympathy for her. Like, she was a quote unquote adult fast tail girl. Like, you know, people said, oh, she got too drunk, she did this, she did that. Nobody seemed to even flirt with the possibility that maybe this girl had gotten roofied or whatever the lady's drug is right now. Because to me, I mean, when I think back about it, I think like the pictures we saw with her completely sober didn't paint her out to be the type of girl who would go that hard.
Right. Yeah, you talk about the one where she was really pretty and she was real dressed, and then all of a sudden she was like
exactly naked on the stool.
Naked on the stool and the floor. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, nobody did. Yeah, nobody did really give her the benefit of the doubt on that.
Mhm.
The other thing that I saw that kind of ticked me off, and I showed it to Buddha, was I was in a Facebook thread where the guy made the comment basically saying he was watching the CNN interview, and he was saying he couldn't believe the girl was talking about the situation that happened in 1969. Basically saying it's 2014. Why are we talking about something that happened in 1969? Which is why I thought it was ironic that the Spanish Fly clip is from 1999.
Mm-hmm.
But what got me was some of the comments from women in the thread.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the comments from a young lady said, because the girl said that he had forced oral sex on her, and she says, how does one force another to perform oral sex? I guess she doesn't watch. Never mind. And then she said that she told him she couldn't have sex because she has an STD. Why are we even talking about this? Is this possible? But if it happens, speak then. Don't wait 50 years. This man is almost 80 years old, and your goal is to taint his image. You couldn't speak up while he was playing Dr. Huxtable. And
I mean, I'm just so glad that she has never had enough trauma that she needed to hold something and then tell it when she felt like it was a good time to tell it. Carolyn Edgar is someone on Twitter I follow, and she talks about the fact that when she was in college, that's exactly what happened to her. A man and made her on him. And it's like, if no one has ever done that to you, if you've never been in that situation, for you to just be out there totally dismissing someone else's experience of how they were abused, I just don't even understand why that will even cross your lips, or in this particular case, your keypad.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get it. I mean, and the thing is, it's her story to tell it at the time she feels like she needs to tell it, whether that's never, whether that's 50 years, whether that's on her deathbed. And now is a good time, not because whatever could be a negative motivation, but it's a good time because now it's getting traction, because now it actually is in the news. And so now, at that time, if she had told it then, she really would have been an outcast. And it's not that she's not going to be an outcast now, but at least now she's joining her voice to other choruses, and it's timely in a way that it can be heard, when previously it wouldn't have been heard and would have been dismissed just like the rest of those women. So now we're up to 14, and then that made it 15.
Here's the other thing that she said was that this woman has not been sitting on this. This woman has been sitting on this since the 60s. The fact that the statute of limitations has run out on these allegations says enough for me. She wasn't damaged enough to speak up then, so why be all over the media now? She's thirsty.
That just pisses me off.
That pissed me off so bad, because I don't think that, it pissed me off more because it was coming from a woman than it would have, even though it's a foul comment, than it would have coming from a man. But as a woman, to not understand how a woman may feel in that situation, to not feel as though she could come out and say something against, somebody who's as popular as he is. And now that other women are coming out as well, she may feel like now she has the courage, because there is someone to validate her story. In 1969, exactly. No one would have validated her story.
Exactly.
But then to say that she was thirsty, I'm like, really?
Well, and the thing that struck me is the whole concept of a statute of limitations. I mean, that isn't set in stone. That's something that people got together and decided was an arbitrary number that works. And so there is no statute of limitations on trauma. There is no statute of limitations on how long it takes you to experience something or go through something or heal from something. So there was no statute of limitations on the fact that, yes, 20 years after the fact that my boyfriend abused me, that was trauma that I still had to deal with in order for me to move forward in my life. And no, I didn't call him out back in the 90s when it happened, and I still haven't called him out in a way that's public that people know what his name is, but I didn't start telling the story until when I saw people like Zerlina and other people on Twitter who were telling their story, and I was like, oh, well, fuck this shit. I'm going to tell mine too. That's exactly what happened. And so anybody who goes around and acts like it can't be true because they can't relate, fuck them. That's all I got to say about that.
No, I mean, I totally get it. And that's what I'm saying, like, social media and even just women being able to have a space where we're able to share more now than ever has given a lot of women the courage to, like, when women started talking about all of those situations and things that happened to them when they were younger, it was because someone was relating their experience and someone said, wow, that happened to me too. And someone else said, wow, that happened to me too. And it began a collective sharing. And so you can't say that however many years has passed, so you don't have the right to tell your story. You have the right to tell your story on your deathbed. You could be 80 and he could be dead, and you could come and tell that story, and you would still have the right to do that. But I know somebody would come and say, oh, you're pissing on his grave, you know, if you waited.
Right.
So, anyway, Janice
I think it was...
Janice Dickinson came out and told the account of what happened to her as well. And I'm trying to see, let me see. Hold on. Trying to find her thing. She
While
said,
you're looking, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Say what you're about to say.
I was going to say, I think her name is Benet Vieira on Twitter, and she's a writer, but she tweeted a long time ago, if you don't want people to say bad things about you, then don't give them a reason to. Don't give them, you know.
Wait. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you dropped off.
Yep, we can.
Right, because I was trying to like butt in there. So here's the thing about the why did you wait so long? So I asked the question, like today there was a joke, like, you know, they were talking about Anonymous or some computer group like canceling a bunch of electricity bills. And somebody made a joke about, like, I don't want to hear shit until they cancel Sallie Mae. Well, I've been out of school for a long time, but I still say fuck Sallie Mae. And I didn't tell the story. No, I didn't tell the story the minute I got out of grad school about Sallie Mae because I felt alone. And to Lady Buddha's point, once you have that support group or even that strength within yourself to speak about something, that's when you speak about it. Everybody can understand when you talk about Sallie Mae being some bullshit. Okay? Like, people don't turn against you and say, well, not too many people say, well, why'd you take out loans? People seem to be very understanding of, well, a bitch had to eat. Well, you know, tuition was due. But they don't seem to offer that same level of understanding when it's like, older man promises you career, you take a sip of water, a sip of juice, a sip of whatever, and you become drugged. Like, what is that? And I think the deeper issue is that people have no empathy for each other. Like, it's just like, oh, if somebody goes through something that is slightly different than my freaking lifestyle, then there must be something wrong with them. And it's just, that's just freaking out. Everybody can sympathize with the person who's going through some things and finally mentioning Sallie Mae after 10 years, you know, after the fact. But they can't seem to sympathize or empathize with the woman who, when you're 20 some odd years old and something traumatic happens to you, it ain't so easy to be all like standing on top of a mountaintop waving a banner of what happened to me.
Right.
And fuck those broads who feel that way, because I bet you every single one of them broads then had a penis that decided he won't have a vagina no more, you know, then had all sorts of things that then went wrong with them, and they found solace in people who sympathize with them. But then in this situation, those raggedy bitches gonna be like, why didn't she, bitch, why didn't you fucking shave your legs? How about that? Why weren't you born prettier? Why weren't you born taller? Like, you know, like, it's like,
it's coming in with a smart rant. Why would you?
Why?
Because it's true. Like, they can always, and it's always a certain type of broad. And by always, I mean at least 90% of the time. A certain type of broad. Like, yeah, and why didn't you? Bitch, why don't you shut the fuck up and listen? What's wrong with your mouth where it won't close? How about that?
I think sometimes what happens also is that people have had trauma themselves and they sucked it up, quote unquote, and they feel like you're weak because why didn't you suck it up too? Why couldn't you take it? You know, why are you messing up, you know, this man or this entity or this big name? Because I wouldn't do that, you know, quote unquote. I
But
think
just
that's
because
Or why didn't you feel grateful that he paid you attention? Are you doing this because you didn't get the outcome that you wanted?
right.
I've heard people say that. Well, he paid them attention, and their career didn't go where they wanted it to. So now they're trying to muddy his name. You know what's going to be interesting, and I don't want to put something out in the atmosphere, but I swear to God, if Lisa Bonet dropped T,
Oh yeah, she
game
been
is
real.
over.
I'm actually been kind of keeping my eye open for that one too.
Me too, because I'm telling you,
Honestly.
game over.
if she drops T, if his son who got killed when any of his ex little girlfriends drop T,
It's
like
over.
there is a whole cornucopia of inappropriate situations and access that this man has had. And when you get up to, you get up to maybe one, maybe two accusations, maybe
Right.
one misunderstood, maybe the second one you caught her at the small of her back before she was gonna trip over a rug. But when you get up into double digits,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Right.
just like your
And
credit score. It's like
and
your credit score. When you stop paying, when you can't pay, a couple bills, when you go and get more credit cards and you can't pay 20 bills, I gotta say, well, you probably shouldn't have got those credit. Like, it comes to a point where too much is too much.
The
Mm-hmm.
thing is, they all have similar stories. That's the kicker, is that they're not telling things that are vastly different. All the stories have the same thread in them.
Mm-hmm.
They all do. And Janice Dickinson's is even more graphic. So she just did this today. This just came out today, so I don't know what the
Breaking
backlash
news.
is.
I said breaking news.
Yeah, so I don't know what's getting ready to happen after that, but yeah, it's on and popping now.
But there will always be people who say, well, Janice Dickinson wasn't quote unquote such a big model, or well, the entertainment industry is small, so those women hurt other women's stories. There will always be apologists.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
Yeah,
apologist for anything that comes with women telling their stories.
Mm-hmm.
that's true. I mean, I definitely hope that woman who made those comments is able to somehow grow and rethink that. My knee-jerk reaction was anger and disappointment because it's people. Of course there are opportunists out there, but I don't think your default should be to think that someone who is telling their story is doing it just because they have something to gain and not because they are telling their story, which is the truth.
Well, who I'm also concerned about is the young ladies who are in college and high school and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What message they're taking away from this happening is, because you just saw the president of the university, I can't remember what university it was, that was speaking to the group of
Yes.
women, telling them,
Langston University in Missouri.
Yeah.
where he was telling, that group of women, not to go out lying on these guys, with the whatever, and the message that they
When it
took.
doesn't turn out the way you wanted it to turn out.
Right, because as if that happens more often than not. I hope that they're not taking away from this that they can't speak out, because if they do, there's a backlash to it. I hope they realize that there are people who support women who come forward and tell stories, no matter when you do.
Well, I would add to that the whole racial aspect of it. A couple things. Oh, these white women are always saying our black men are raping them. Oh, let's not get the black man in the system. Oh, well, but what about the black, white, red, or brown, or yellow vagina that has been invaded, or mouth that's been invaded, or anus that has been invaded? Like, you don't get a pass just because of racism. As a person of color, you don't get a pass either because white men fucking these hoes too. No, you kind of still don't get a pass here, at least not under my watch.
And everything is not trying to tear a black man down.
Yeah.
Because that's been the Cosby defense too. He's such a revered figure that they have to tear him down. Bill Cosby really hasn't been relevant in a while, so it's not like like people were trying to witch hunt to tear him down. This happened. People talked about it. It went away at one point. Somebody brought it up, and more people started to come out. It's not somebody trying to sully the good black man's name. Like, if I think, you know, Buddha, what you said earlier, if you don't want people to talk about bad deeds you did, don't do them.
Right.
It's real simple.
That was Benet, written by Benet Vieira on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, there you have it.
So we're after 9 o'clock, but I can't remember what time we started.
Just a little bit after 8.
Did y'all see Aaliyah's movie?
I didn't, but I saw Twitter, and that was enough to keep me. I mean, I was up past my bedtime laughing at the Twitter memes and all the hashtags.
I didn't watch it while it was. I watched Twitter while it was on.
Right.
Because I always know that Twitter has a good time with it. And then I did end up watching it Sunday, and it wasn't as horrible as I thought it was gonna be. I mean, it was bad, but I went in with lowered expectations, which I, kind of feel like, first of all, it's Lifetime. So I mean, how high are your expectations?
Well, but the thing is, like, even when it's based on a true story, the main premise for most Lifetime movies is man does women wrong. So, I mean, they got to shape to that no matter what. And I know there were a lot of comments about the casting and stuff, but, let's lower our expectations here, because there have been other movies that have been poorly cast. I mean, lest we not forget Flex in the Michael Jackson situation.
Listen, that's what I was thinking about too, and the other thing was that they kept talking about how different, and trust me, if you did see it, you know that did not look anything like Missy Elliott or Timbaland or anything like that. And people were talking about the looks, but you don't have to look like that person to do a good job. I think the problem was that they didn't do a good job portraying those people. Like the person who played R. Kelly, he was awful. They didn't like the casting of Aaliyah though, but I didn't feel like she really did that bad of a job. I felt like she looked like what's Robin Thicke's wife's name? Paula Patton.
And by ex-wife, yeah.
Yeah, that's who she looked like to me. That's what I kept thinking she was. But I mean, granted, I thought about Malcolm X, and granted, that was a great movie. Denzel acted his ass off, but in my opinion, Denzel didn't play Malcolm X. He played Denzel playing Malcolm X, like he does in all his movies. Denzel plays whatever character he is. So, I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't that bad. The only thing that got me was Lifetime live tweeting it like it was a love story.
Oh, okay. That's what y'all talking about.
Yeah, that's the part that got to me when they were like, do you see the chemistry between the two of them? That's real. Or do you think age really is nothing but a number? Like, that's the shit that was too much. So, I just did not think it was as horrible. And for everybody that thought it was horrible, I was like, what were you expecting from Lifetime?
Well, anybody our age lived through Baby Boy, Boys in the Hood, and a full bucket of badly acted movies. So whatever. I mean, I just didn't expect. I didn't see it. I saw what I think is like a snippet of it. So and you know what? Those kids need to build up their resumes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's a nice little resume builder for later on. Like the little girl who played Aaliyah, she was cute. She, she wasn't horrible. She wasn't the best, but that's a nice little resume builder for her to go on and play Paula Patton in her autobiography.
And not to mention, I understand that I hear it was like the second highest rated show last night. So one thing I think Black Twitter needs to do is stop watching television shows, because what we've done is guaranteed that Wendy Williams is going to do like the Another Bad Creation story. She's got the money. They've already signed the contract for that.
Yes.
I did. Or Crisscross.
And that's the thing. Black Twitter does it for entertainment. It's like Black Twitter does it for. It's like a black family going to a wedding and a funeral that you know is going to be bad, but you get dressed up and you go just to throw shade at the event. That's what we do. And so Black Twitter's going to Lifetime to watch the movie, well, you're still giving it ratings. So, like, if you really don't want to see it, y'all gotta stop watching it. Like,
is that what we're gonna do for Bye Felicia on VH1?
I ain't watching Bye Felicia.
I ain't watching it either, but I'm just saying. I mean, like, you know, it's a thing that is a thing. I didn't think it was real until, like, I think today I was watching something and there were advertisements for it, and because I thought it was like a skit for Saturday Night Live that people were talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, it is a real thing.
But it's not even the right context.
I don't even want to. I saw Bye Felicia. I saw some white chicks, and I was like, nope.
So do we know who Anthony?
Yeah, that's Anthony that wrote the feedback last time.
Oh, okay. Well, he wrote us today and just said, Bill Cosby got an army of skeletons in the closet that are slowly starting to come on out.
Oh, they falling out like bones just rolling.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big bandwagon of people. And you may have one or two people in there who are going to make up, you know, a fictional event. And I think everybody else is going to be telling the truth just the way they remember it.
Because nothing done in the dark stays in the dark.
What's done in the dark will come to the light.
So, ladies, are we done? Because Mama got to wash her face.
Oh, I haven't eaten. I need to eat.
Y'all want me to be looking like...
You got a chance to eat bacon.
Oh, good.
Right, bacon. I ate steak. I ate crab cakes. I ate chocolate cake. I ate ice cream. Oh, Lord. Just gluttonous. We were the reason terrorists hate us. And liquor,
That's why you came in with a rant.
That is.
Well, we're good. I'm ready to get my food.
You gonna take us out, Sojo?
Your whiskey.
All right. So we'll have cheers today for Miss Misty Copeland, who is awesome, and I get to see her in April. We're gonna go see Swan Lake in DC, Kennedy Arts Center. Woo woo woo.
Tickets weren't available when I looked for it. It was like one ticket here and then 17 rows away. But
we got them right at the first day they went on sale was the last day they went on sale.
That's right, because as soon as you said that, when I got to a red light, I looked them up, and these savages had taken them
already.
And by savage, you mean blue.
Yeah,
right,
in the morning. It was like 8:00 in the morning the first day they went on.
That's what I saw. Go ahead.
Anyway, so cheers to Misty Copeland for being an inspiration and for dancing her heart out. And you can catch me on Twitter at I almost said my old one, NDC Harp, HARP, like the instrument, NDC HARP, or on my blog, cocostudio.com, COCO studio, singular, cocostudio.com. What about y'all?
Well, this is Think Pretty Smart. I actually don't have a cheers today. So I will give cheers to my own damn self, because if not me, who else will? So I like to give cheers to myself for being wonderful and for washing my face twice a day, because that's really important.
Are you being unapologetic?
Unapologetic, yes. Wash your face twice a day, and make sure you get under like your neck chin area so it doesn't start to like sag. That's really important. You can reach me at on the Twitter at think. Y'all sighing, but I've seen some double chins that if they had a.
I'm laughing.
I'm out here doing community service, and this is why.
This is why we changed the title "Good Girl Gone Bad," because the first part of this podcast was so goodness and light.
Anyway, you can reach me on Twitter at think_P_smart, and I tweet about usually television shows, but when I have time, I tweet about other things. At any rate, Sojo, what about you?
First of all, you guys suck because nobody gave cheers to the bros. So,
yes, cheers to the bros.
Anniversary bros.
So if we're gonna do that, I'm gonna break in and say cheers to my husband, whose birthday is the same day as the bros' anniversary.
Yeah, you had your time for your cheers, but
I'm just saying. Since you clowned us, then I get to rebut.
So
Okay.
anyway, but in all seriousness though, Scorpio season, shout out to Blue Gucci.
Here it comes.
But no, shout out to the Bros for their anniversary. But my cheers goes to Ramona, who's on Twitter. Her Twitter handle is _ REMONA, and she's a rattler whose sister was murdered in Michigan, and her story was on Motives and Murders, which was on the Discovery ID channel. And
of course it was.
That was on last week, and she live tweeted about it. Star Jones kind of helped, with the situation or whatever. But as a result of her death, they created Rhonda's Rules, which is a website, and I'll put the link in the summary or whatever, about women getting their affairs in order, because at the time of her death there were some things that still needed to be taken care of. So they made a list of things that women need to look out for as far as being in order. So definitely cheers to Rochelle. We love you, and we're still supporting you in all this. And you can find us collectively at Whiskey, Wine, and Moonshine. You can Google that. That'll take you to our website, whiskeywineandmoonshine.com. Our Twitter handle is at Whiskey, Wine, Moon. We have a Facebook page, a Google+, anything you can think of, iTunes, Stitcher, all of that stuff. And definitely leave us 5-star reviews on Stitcher and iTunes, and we'll read them live on air. And we will see you guys. Oh, no, we won't see you all next week. I forgot. That's going to be a throwback Tuesday episode. So we'll see you guys after Thanksgiving, though. But cheers.
Cheers.
Whoop.